In an effort to make the Dissolve Your Debt manual more affordable and more of an informed, comfortable purchase for you, we've created this additional free video to give you some more understanding on what it is you're about to start doing, and an opportunity to own this debt-busting manual for yourself at a large $20 discount. What you're about to learn in just a few short minutes is years' worth of valuable education that almost nobody has received. The knowledge to follow in this video has, up until now, been reserved for less than 5% of the population, and it is now presented to you for your own benefit and understanding. One of the biggest surprises for people finding out about their ability to dissolve their debt like this is that it's been around and available since 1933. As we touch on in the Dissolve Your Debt manual, 1933 was a big year for this country, and the particulars often come as quite a shock to folks. As it pertains to what we're doing, 1933 was the year that the government confiscated all the gold from the people. In doing so, they took away the only real money we had to pay for anything. With the removal of the real money, they removed our ability to actually pay for goods, services, and most importantly, debt. By taking away the gold, they literally took away our ability to settle our debts. Historically, however, whenever the government has taken something away from the people, it has always had to give them something back of equal or greater value in return. So, in this case, they took away the gold, the actual money, and gave us back in return the ability to have all our debts, public or private, paid for dollar by the government. Why would they do that? They had to, because without that power endowed to United States citizens, commercial equity would remain unbalanced, and that, economically speaking, just can't happen. Besides, even though it doesn't quite seem like it anymore, the government is in place to serve the people that created it, so providing this kind of debt-destroying administrative power to us was doing nothing more than fulfilling its truest purpose and function. However, most people just don't know that the government has specifically mandated, guaranteed, in writing, that it will pay all our debts, dollar for dollar. As we say, it has been cleverly hidden in plain sight for decades. Most folks are consumed with television shows and celebrity gossip, so understanding things like this are far removed from people's field of vision, and it's not all their fault. The individuals that are at the highest levels of government, banking, and corporations don't always keep our best interests in mind, so they've done a lot to keep good, deserving folks like you from getting educated on what their real power really is, and they've done that in the best interests of their own bottom-line power and profits. See, people don't understand that every dollar you have in your pocket, purse, or bank account has itself been a debt since 1933. Our money isn't backed by a gold standard like it used to be, where you could go and exchange your paper money for real precious metal. Our money, quote unquote, is backed by nothing more than the faith, spirit, and energy of the people who live and work here. Our money is basically monopoly money, and every single dollar bill of it is a debt, a promissory note, or promise to pay, quote unquote, at some point in the future. That's what all debt is, but the problem is that everything we think we have to pay for things with today is a debt as well. So, every dollar you have is a promissory note, and cash actually says note right on it, which means that every check that you write, which is linked to the cash in your bank account, is a promissory note. Every swipe of your debit card, which is linked to the cash in your bank account, is a promissory note. Every money order you purchase with cash is a promissory note, and credit cards, in their purest form, are debt. We are surrounded by debt, and that's a huge problem. Not only is personal debt at an all-time high, but the national debt is in the trillions and trillions of dollars. Our entire financial and economic structure is based on a debt system, and the gigantic challenge with this kind of a system is that it's destined to fail because it has to. The national debt is over $15 trillion, and there isn't enough printed, physical money in existence to ever pay it off. Do you see an issue here? Boiling it down to your own debt situation, which is a microcosm of the national debt, you can never earn enough money, quote unquote, to ever pay your way out of debt. That's not what the system is designed to do. On a national level and a personal level, getting out of debt using the only ways most people know of to pay for anything, like money or Federal Reserve notes, is an unsolvable mathematical problem. The only way to actually get out of debt is by using the process described in the Dissolve Your Debt Manual, based on the guaranteed written government mandate we touched on earlier. Why is that? Well, because every single time that someone goes and tries to pay for something with money, it increases their personal debt and the national debt. As an example, when someone tries to pay their $1,000 mortgage bill with $1,000, the national debt increases by $2,000. You simply can't use a debt to try to pay another debt, yet that's exactly the only option most people know that they have available to them. The end result is more personal debt and a vastly inflated national debt. This is exactly why it's gotten so huge, because most everybody out in the country are paying for their necessities, their bills, etc., with instruments of debt. Matter of fact, the government actually made it illegal to try to pay for a debt with another debt, so the whole thing is just a big mess, and it all stems from our system of commerce being debt-based. The government could and should create all its own interest-free money of which they could control the supply. However, our government borrows money into existence via the Federal Reserve Bank, which is not a government entity, but a private group of banks which creates money out of thin air at interest based on collateralizing and monetizing our signatures. The government borrows this money at interest. But how can you pay interest, let alone the principal, on a loan that's been created out of thin air? The answer is that you can't, but our system is foolishly built at its core on that debt, which is itself created at the same time the money, quote unquote, comes into existence. Luckily, out of sheer necessity, the abilities provided to us in 1933 have re-emerged with clarity and purpose, and more people are starting to wake up and understand that something is wrong, things are broken, and measures must be taken to sort things out. Without realizing, understanding, and then utilizing the process taught in the Dissolve Your Debt Manual, the country as a whole, and people individually, are going to slide down a very steep, slippery slope of debt that can never be corrected, and will be condemning ourselves and our great-great-great-grandchildren to a life of financial indebtedness, servitude, and serfdom. So, understandably, in times like these, a very common question people who purchase the Dissolve Your Debt Manual ask is whether or not all of this is guaranteed, if it's for real. This is a very understandable question because what you're about to learn is so different than what you've been taught all your life. This all just seems too good to be true, but it's real. Like finding out that being able to do this type of thing has been around for years, finding out that it's actually guaranteed by the government comes as a big shock to most. As it's been said, the entire Dissolve Your Debt Manual is based on a legal, historical, and factual basis, and as such, we're able to look to the specific mandates made by the government to support everything it is that we do per the instructions in this manual. You see, back in 1933, Congress just didn't decide to pay everyone's debt dollar for dollar. They put it in writing, making it part of public policy in House Joint Resolution 192, written on June 5, 1933. This piece of legislation lends undeniable credence, power, and supportive enforcement to what it is we're actually able to do with our debt. As a result of the mandates of HJR 192 becoming public policy thanks to congressional decree, it subsequently became part of permanent public law within the actual United States statutes at large, where it is identified as Chap 48, 48 Stat 112. Chap 48, 48 Stat 112 contains the same wording as HJR 192. The difference, however, is that one is public policy, the other is public law. This is an important distinction to make, and here's why. The resolution that is HJR 192 can be modified at any time by Congress if they choose to. However, public laws do not provide for that type of flexibility and cannot and will not be modified on a whim, whether speaking in past tense, present tense, or future tense. This means that the ability to do what it is that the Dissolve Your Debt Manual teaches you to do is an evergreen administrative power granted to you. The process you're about to learn in Dissolve Your Debt represents the federal government's obligation to you. Congress was required to provide you with a remedy for their monetary removal in 1933, and they did, and it's been around and available to you ever since. Please always remember that these written doctrines, whether part of public policy or public law, state that the government will pay your debts dollar for dollar because you, in all truth, do not have sufficient access to the actual funds to do it yourself. So, let the journey begin. Dissolve your debt. If you are really interested in finally getting totally out of debt, then now is the time to make a decision, and again, it shouldn't be a hard one. Ordering the Dissolve Your Debt manual will be the cheapest thing you've ever done to get out of debt. And now it'll be even cheaper since you've taken an additional step for yourself and seen this extra video. If you know you want to order, go ahead and click the link below right now. You'll be transferred through to our secure order page to have your billing information gathered and your order completed. The Dissolve Your Debt manual will now cost you only $79, which is a huge $20 discount, and it'll be available to you for immediate download within just a few minutes from now. Again, I wanted to make the price reasonable enough for you that you wouldn't have to go into debt to get it, and I wanted to make the manual bite-sized and manageable enough that you'd actually read and use it. The Dissolve Your Debt manual is simple, direct, and to the point. It's 75 pages and covers in very easy, step-by-step detail exactly what you need to do and how to get out of any debt. You can literally get out of many, many thousands of dollars of debt by using this simple book. As small as the discounted $79 investment is, this will be the best investment you've ever made, and it'll really have a very positive, eye-opening impact on your life, and I can guarantee you that. And if you order today, I'll make sure your copy of Dissolve Your Debt includes 2 popular bonus sections titled There Are Two of You and Easy Contract Basics. These 2 bonus sections alone are worth more than the total investment in the Dissolve Your Debt manual, and the faster you get your copy, the faster you'll be debt-free, so just click the link below to order now. You can safely, easily, and securely purchase Dissolve Your Debt using your credit or debit card, so have your card ready and click the order link below. So if you're ready, go ahead and order below now. Again, my name's Jonathan Hawley, and I sure do appreciate your interest in the Dissolve Your Debt manual. Here's to debt-free living, and I thank you for your time, your trust, and your business. Go ahead, click the link below to order now, and let's get you started. What are you waiting for? There's nothing to think about when it comes to finally getting totally out of debt. The time has come. Click below to order now.